have the old style manifolds where the pipes glue inside like this, I'm going to show you in this video how to convert it to this style manifold, which is the new style. Makes a much easier repair for you, something easier to install, a much more complete repair, because when you try to glue this old pipe back into new manifolds, if you can't spin it, we call it spin it to win it, then it's going to leak. You'll have drips at every one of these on the brand new stuff. So we show you how to install something like this in the place of something like this. And then, like in this particular case, this is 1/2 inch. This will actually slip inside of the pipe that glues onto these barbs. You put clamps on it and we have kits. Stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to talk about today is how to repair this manifold. You can see that this thing got freeze damage. It actually busted out the soft pipe and it cracked. You can see that crack right there, and there's one right there. It kind of splintered it. Now this is an unusual setup here because you've got multiple sizes. This one's 2 inch, this one is 1.5 inches, that one is 3/4, these are half. So it looks like you've got 4 halves, 2 3/4, 1.5 inches on this end, 2 inch on this end. So I'm going to cut all this out and show you how to repair it and how to modify and update it. But I'm actually going to update it to the Barb style manifold. I'm going to update it to this. So we're going to take the old style glue-in manifolds and put this style in it to make it more modern and less likely to leak. Because when you're gluing, anytime you glue new to old, you take a chance of it leaking. So if you were to take this old pipe and just glue it inside of a brand new manifold, it's very likely that it would leak. So stay tuned, I'll show you how to do it. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this manifold out. I'm going to get it out of the way. So I can see that my 2 inch is cut all the way back to here. It's blown. So I'm going to come back a little further and cut this. And you can use all kinds of different cutting apparatus. This happens to be my cutter of choice, but there's all kinds of different ways of cutting PVC. Now be careful not to cut the PVC pipe below this. Okay, there's one. Now I'm going to cut the 1.5 inches on the other side. And this does not appear to have busted, and you can see they actually put foam on this to hold it in place. Put a little up pressure on it and break it loose. But you can see it's busted real good right there. This does not appear to have been damaged, but we're going to inspect it further when we get it out. Alright, that's your 2 big pieces. And you're going to probably get a little bit of water, but that's okay. Now we're going to cut the small pieces. And none of these appear to have gotten damaged. But if they had, you have to inspect real good. And you can see cracks in them if they're cracked. Use these smaller cutters for the smaller pipe up to 1 inch. And I use the big ones for 1.5 inches and 2. Alright, so there's the old manifold. And you can see that thing's busted open really, really good. And this is what I was talking about. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, 3/4. So if you take a measuring tape and actually measure the insides of these, you'll see that the 3/4 does measure 3/4 inside. The 1/2 does measure about 1/2 inside. The 1.5 inch does measure about 1.5 inches inside. And the 2 inch does measure about 2 inches inside. So it holds true inside diameter, but problem is you can't see inside. So the next thing I'm going to do is we talked about something that I call spin it to win it. And so let me inspect this 2 inch. That looks really good as far as inside and out. There's no cracks in it. There's no cracks in this anywhere. So these were not damaged. So next I'm going to spin it to win it here. And anytime you're gluing new to old, you always purple prime it, you put the new part on and you spin it until it stops. If you don't, it will drip right there. If you just stick it on there like you're gluing new to new. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put my reducer here, my bushing. I'm going to glue it right there. And then I'll glue my new manifold in, and then I'll make my connections over here. So stay tuned. And you know what? I'm probably going to go ahead and put my my two connections here as well. So just stay tuned. I'm going to get everything prepped and we'll get after it. Alright, so what I do is take a rag and of course just clean them up inside and out. And I've already cleaned all of them. And they don't have to be perfect. It's going to be hard to get them perfect out in this kind of a environment. But I take me a little Brillo pad and just kind of clean up around there. If you happen to have foam on there, what I do is take my knife and scrape it sideways and get as much foam off as I can and then clean it up like that with a Brillo pad. Some kind of a scouring pad. And you can see I wear gloves. Anytime I glue, I always wear gloves. And I have these little devices. This is how we're going to turn this into a barb setup. You can see that we have these little barbs. They're actually 1 inch on the outside, 3/4 on the inside. So that will actually glue onto that, and it also gives me the opportunity to spin it to win it. Just put it on there and spin it till it stops. Now, if you were doing 1 inch and you got these, you would just buy couplers, glue your coupler on the 1 inch, and then glue that on there. So this kind of setup will work for 1 inch here, it'll work for 3/4 here, and it'll work for 1/2 inch here. The 1/2 inch you won't use this. I'm going to show you a little trick. The little trick is this. The 3/4 pipe that comes with the manifold kits that I offer is actually 1/2 inch inside diameter. So you can put glue on there. Of course, put your clamp on first, and it will actually glue inside of the pipe, and then you put your clamp on. So what I do on these is I'll slide my clamp on, I'll glue my pipe on, pull it on the barb, pull my clamps on, and then slide it back. So the clear does the 1/2 inch. This does 3/4 inside, 1 inch outside with couplers. So I sell a kit with these. Like if it's a 6 barb like this, it'll have 6 of these. And then if it's 1 inch, you'll have to have 6 couplers or ever how many you have. So that just kind of gives you an idea. And it's a changeover kit from the old style to the new style. So now we're going to start our gluing. And the way we're going to do it is I'm going to go ahead and we'll do the 2 first. We're going to go ahead and do our purple primer. And this, I use Christie's Red Hot Blue. And I use Christie's Purple Primer. Nothing but Christie's. Only the best will do. And we offer that in our store. And so I'm going to just send some primer around on each one of these fittings. I'm going to let it dry. And boy, this purple stuff will get all over everywhere. It's just the nature of the stuff. I'm going to put a piece of pipe under here to keep that from laying down. Prime these two real quick. Alright, so we're going to let, this is my 2 inch coupler I'm going to put on here. We're going to spin it to win it. So I'm going to glue both sides. Glue this side first. I'm going to glue inside the coupler. A little more Christie's. This glue right here will actually stick. If you had water rushing out of these pipes right now, it would still stick. So I'm going to put it on there and spin it till it stops. And you'll know if you can keep turning it, it's not gluing. See, I'm putting a lot of pressure on it and it stopped. So now I'm going to do the 1.5 inch side. And you can probably hear that I've got a little bit of a sinus thing happening. It's still slightly cold outside, so I heat my glue up. Anytime I'm gluing and it's colder outside, I'll actually heat my pipe and my glue. I keep a hot box in my truck, and what I'll do, if you don't have a hot box and you're trying to do this at home, take a cardboard box and use a hairdryer to heat it up in the cardboard. Just stick it in the box, pop you a hole in there. Of course, don't burn the house down. You know, you got to watch it, but we have wooden boxes that I made up with that I use a hairdryer in the field. And see, I put that on there and it stopped immediately, which means it had a good glue fitting. So all these are just about prepared to accept the new manifold. till it stops. You saw it stop turning. So every one of those are good glue joints right there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to clean these 1/2 inch ones up and get those prepped for clear pipe. So I'm going to clean them. Just wipe them off. Get them freshened up. And you can see that stuff that's on the inside of the pipes. Anytime a hot tub sits for a period of time, that kind of stuff will actually flake and dry out. But they build that stuff up over a period of time just as you use the tub. And when you turn it off, that stuff will turn to flakes. And when it turns to flakes, once you heat the tub up again, all that stuff will come into the tub. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take my clamps and get them on here, 2 of them, and get those ready. So I'm going to start preparing. I'll get all that stuff prepared, and so stay tuned. Alright, since I know that I'm going to use these for my 1/2 inch, I'm going to go ahead and place these on here first. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them, pull my clamps down and get it ready. Not much to it, just simply glue it. And if you're struggling, if it's cold and you don't want to hotbox your stuff, you can also just take a hairdryer and just kind of heat it. Heat this pipe, and it will make it a lot more flexible, especially if you're dealing with, like if you were gluing this on a manifold that already has this kind of pipe. That's what I do. I use the I will use the hairdryer and just warm them up to get them into place. Alright, so I'm going to pull my clamps down. And in this particular kit, I'm making room for 4 inches of clear pipe. So you've got plenty of room to slide your 1/2 inch flex up in, so you're not struggling. So you don't, I want as much surface as I can get. And you can see I've already primed my 1/2 inch pieces. I'm going to pull this one around. I'm going to actually slide these down just a little bit more, so I've got a little extra 1/2 inch to slip up in there. So remember to cut your pipe at 4 inches. That gives you just enough. And so I'm going to do my bottom 2 first, of course. So what you're going to do is just, we'll do this one right here first. Since this is going to be the bottom, this is going to be the hardest one to put the clamp on. So I'm simply going to just dab that in there, slicking it up, and then dab some right out here. I'm gonna, you can see that will slip inside of 1/2 inch, will slide right inside of 3/4, just like that right there. So there's one. I'm gonna go ahead and pull my clamp up. Put your pliers to the tightest click. There's one. So I'm going to do number 2 right here. And they will have a specific spot that they try to go back to because they're used to being at that angle. So you usually will just put these right back where you got them from. Gives me some good surface tension right there. Some good surface on the glue joint. That's what I mean. surface tension. Not really surface tension as the definition goes, but that's what I call it. Alright, so now we're going to do these two, this one right here. And even though these got a little bit of water coming out, it doesn't matter. The water will easily, it'll glue with water gushing out of this thing. If you got the Christie's Red Hot Blue, the official glue of the Spa Guy and the Hot Tub Professor. And like I say, if it's really cold, this stuff is going to be harder to get in like that, so heat it up, hair dryer, hot box it, ever how you want to do it. So you can see how those right there are done. Now I'm going to put these two pieces on, so I need two more 4-inch pieces, so I'm going to get that prepped and y'all hang on. So you remember I told you if you're gluing new to new, I don't use purple primer, so this is going to be new to new. So I'm just going to glue the first one in. I do the bottom one first and then the top one second, of course. It's easier to reach the bottom when the top one isn't in place yet. So boom, boom. Then the next one will be the top. So what I do is go ahead and put my clamps on in the center so I can pull them each direction. So now I pull my clamps in place. Boom. So that part is complete. Alright, so now I'm going to glue the bushing into the manifold, and of course that's new to new, so I don't use my purple primer for that. You can, it's not going to hurt anything, I just don't. Some people would argue that you should. I have my methods, they have their methods. So it's just, whoever you talk to, everybody kind of has their thing. I just don't glue the purple primer new to new. So, see, I got it in there and kind of twist it. Now, to make this line up, I'm going to put a 45 here, and I'm going to glue my piece of flex between, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take my 45 and glue it in. So do that. And then I'm going to glue this piece of flex into this coupler. So I'm going to slip this back, get these two ready, push them together, and this manifold repair is done. Now, the other thing that happens is a lot of times your manifold is not going to go back where the other one was. That's fine. In fact, it's better for it to be up high than it is to be down low. The reason that this particular one broke is it was at the bottom of the chain, and somebody turned this thing off, left it off during the winter, thought they got all the water out. So one of the things is, and I'm real adamant about this, but you know, do what you want to do, but if you don't drain your tub, if you drain your tub during the winter and think that you got all the water out of it, you will be buying parts, and you will be doing what I'm doing right here. The worst thing you can do to your hot tub is turn it off and leave it off for periods of time. That is an absolute no-no. It's a bad idea. I don't care who tells you it's a good idea. It is a no-no. My company does not do it. I have 7,000 service customers that we service, 7,000 tubs, and we do not winterize tubs, period. Bad idea. That's what causes this. So that is a completed repair for a busted manifold where we converted it from the glue-in style to the Barb style. So if you had a leak, let's say where this glued on, all you would do is take this off, get another one of these pieces, cut it back that much further, glue it back on there, and just put it right back in. So the opportunity for this thing to leak is very, very minimal. So we're going to fill this bad boy up and see if there's any leaks anywhere else. So if you want a kit to convert from this to this style right here, if you will click the banner over my head, it will take you to our website, and it will take you to the area where we have the conversion kits for the old style glue-in manifolds to the new style Barb manifolds. I don't know much, but I do know hot tubs, and I am a smart guy. Click now.